Welcome to the Bird Gang Nation Sports Media Show, repping the greatest team of all time. Let's go! Bird Gang 31, he be the host with the most. We going deep, burning teams. They ain't nothing but toast. It's Senor Estes. Sirianni put me in coach, running like Miles Sanders till I bump my head on the post. Touchdown! Yeah, that's coming. Devontae's crazy route running. Jalen hurting them, throwing lasers to Rager Young gunning. Come on! On the D side, we ride, sack him with Fletcher, lay him out on the stretcher. No one can protect you. Watch Darius lay him, shutting down your routes. Come on! In my green John, eating Philly cheesesteaks. Put up your cups, wings up, if you can relate. Tailgating at the link like Gangsta Stride. To the Bird Gang Nation, that's worldwide. On Sundays, catch the pre and post game. Mondays is Birds on Broad Street with Philly Notion and Cool Cat, the man in motion. And Wednesdays, the midweek special got you open with JC from Eagles Talk, hitting like B-Dog, baby.
Welcome to another edition of Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, Bird Gang 31. Today, Nation, we have a very special guest in the building. It's the Hub, New York Giants content creator. How you doing today, my guy?
What up? If there is any Giants fans
you got him in here. You got him in there. There you go.
Hey, shout out to Deception in there, man. I made the post, I made the tweet right around the same time you did. Of course, I'm in enemy territory right now with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Bird Gang Nation. Shout out to everybody in the chat, Eagles fans included. Glad to be here, man. Shout out to Mrs. Bird Gang in there as well, man. I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm great, man. Great. Just got another live with a Giants content creator. I'm ready to do it again, my guy. Let's talk about this game, man.
What is there to talk about, man?
Week, having to talk about two different teams in the same exact week has been kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? When I'm trying to get some more Giants guys, I'm like, whoa, I still need some more, Washington football team guys too. You're trying to get those things worked out, but I'm glad that part of it's over. Now we can just focus on just, this upcoming game against the G-Man, man. Tell everybody that don't know about your channel, tell us about how long you've been going on and how long you've been doing this, my guy.
For sure. I see another one of my guys in there as well, Evan Spitzberg. Welcome in, Evan. So I am The Hub. You can find me at The Hub on YouTube. The link is in the chat right now. I'm also on Twitch. That's where I have my gaming stuff. I try to separate them a little bit. I've been doing currently the Halo Infinite campaign over on Twitch, but I've been doing this Giants content creation thing for going on 3 years now. Started back in February of 2019. Oh man, it's been going 2-3 years strong, but I'm not gonna lie to you, we in a tough spot with the Giants right now, which means it's a tough spot for talking about them as well, but you gotta power through, man.
Oh yeah, you got to, man. At the beginning of the season, man, it was rough coming on here show every single week. You know what the team needs to do. You're just like, they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
Man, you saw them scrambling for the O-line right before the season began, and that's when it's like, just like something ain't right. Opened up, 0-3, got that win against the Saints, and then it was just like, even after the win against the Saints, I'm pretty sure I put a video on my channel that said, yo, listen, we're 1-4. We're not going anywhere, man. It's like you with any fan of any team, right? Anytime you kind of that negative guy, which I was for some points during the season, you're going to catch flack from everybody, right? But it's like, you don't like being right at the end of the day, at the end of the season.
Right. So tell me, what's been going on with your G-Man, man? Let me know your take on why the season is the way it is, on how did you really expect this to happen this way?
So, no, I'm going to be honest. No, I did not expect it to happen this way. I felt like, because The problems the Giants have is more than just this season, and I feel like even fans of other teams, at least our division rivals, would be able to tell that because we've been pretty bad for 10 years. Forget 2016. It's essentially been 10 years since the Giants have been kind of a bad team. So I could get into that, but more specifically with this season, I thought it was gonna be the opposite because we had a good draft, in my opinion. And even though, hindsight being 2020, you look back at it, Rashawn Slater's having an amazing season. Micah Parsons it looks like one of the best defensive players in the NFL, let alone defensive rookies in the NFL. But looking back at it, the draft was not that bad. We still got 2 good players out of it at the very least. And free agency addressed what we all needed to be addressed, which was the wide receiving core. We addressed that in free agency. It just so happened that come season time, every single person we acquired was just injury prone, right? Kenny Gott, whether you talk about draft or free agency. And then the guys that weren't injury prone, our offensive line, who's been healthy, which is funny because I think before the season started, I made a joke saying we'll be fine because our offensive line, they're not injury prone guys. And I think like I might have jinxed it.
You jinxed them.
Yeah, four out of our 5 starting offensive linemen went out in the first 2 and 3 weeks. And then their backups went out by week 4. So we ended up starting our practice squad guys on the offensive line. On an offensive line that was already going to struggle even with the starters. They were going to take some time to get into the flow of things and maybe improve. And I still do believe if we had our starting offensive linemen out there, it would have been a better season. But once again, I'm talking all the way back to week 2, right? That's when our starting center went down, Nick Gates, and his injury is so serious he might not even return next year. It's like possible his career might be ended. But that's neither here nor there. It's like it happened so early on in the season. And to see the team essentially do nothing to try and fix it from that early on in the season has been a problem. The offense in general has been a problem, and Jason Garrett was part of that, but he was never the entire thing. Firing him was never going to be the solution. When we fired him, I made a video saying, listen, he was part of a much bigger problem. So if there's any fans out there that thinks there's going to be a flip in this offense, you're wrong because it comes down from Joe Judge as well, who's a very conservative guy. He's got to be the most conservative guy in football history, man. This dude loves taking his field goals instead of taking chances and go for it on like 4th and 2s and stuff like that. But it's like there's just so many things into it. There's the injuries, there's coaching issues, there's front office issues. Once again, talking about how they were scrambling by the time the season was starting to get some on that offensive line. And then there's like performance issues by the players as well. It sounds like I'm saying there's a lot of things because it's the entire team. Like when you're a bad team, there's blame to go around. There's like blame to go on everybody. Because I can't sit here and completely say the players are doing everything perfect. Nah, man. Like our defense, which is surprisingly still really good in my opinion. Like there's still, I'm pretty sure, a top 12 defense in the NFL. I'm going to have to check that. And if they had any type of help from their offense, and by help I mean, they have some rest. If the offense could string together a couple of plays to make a legit drive, they could be even better than top 12. But they don't have any help. But the defense that is that good took like a whole month before they started clicking, which is a problem. Players on the offensive side, the ball, sometimes they can't catch the ball. That's a problem. Sometimes they're not executing screens. That's a problem. So it's like, it's everywhere, man. And like I said, I could get into the more like deeper part of it, which is this is a problem that's been there for like 10 years at least that needs to be fixed with the Giants.
Let's touch on a couple of them before we start talking about the last game we played that you guys did win. So no matter how bad you guys are doing, you guys already got that W against us one time. You know what I'm saying? We'll get on that one. But let's talk about this. First off, Slater. Like you said earlier, would you have rather taken Slater in the draft than Tony, or do you think it's bigger than that, hindsight?
So, this is one of those weird situations because there were a good amount of Giants fans that wanted Rashawn Slater and thought that he wouldn't be there at all. I'm not going to lie to y'all. And the guy I wanted a lot was it was 2 of them, actually. It was Devontae Smith, who you guys took, and Jalen Waddle. I wanted one of those Alabama receivers really badly, right? But I would say a good amount of Giants fans wanted Rashawn Slater, and I don't blame them. So I don't even know if I could use the hindsight is 2020 argument on this one. However, we're in a situation right now where when we traded down, we got a lot of good assets back that have yet to pan out that I'm holding judgment for now. But obviously, right, if you got 2 eyes, it looks like we made the wrong decision because Slater's looks amazing. He looks like the best lineman in the class. And like I said, Parsons looks like one of the best defensive players in the entire NFL. But I got to see what we do with the pick that we got from Chicago. We got 2 picks back from Chicago, right? So that is a good haul in terms of a trade down. And I'm not mad at Kadarius Toney. He's been facing with a lot of injuries, but in the games that he's been in, if you go and you look at the dude, defenses couldn't stop him in the few games he was able to play. So I'm really glad that we did get somebody like him, but I'm just wondering, all right, is it an Odell Beckham type of situation where Odell was injured his rookie year and then, he just had injuries every year, but when he's on the field, he's a good receiver? Or is it just going to be like, I'm still waiting to see how that plays out. Of course, like I said, we got the draft coming up. We're going to see what we do with Chicago's 2 picks that we got from them.
Nice, man. Nice. Another one, your coach. Is this guy the future Giants coach? Are you sold in? Have you bought into what Joe Judge is selling over there?
I'm not sure if you're going to like my answers because a lot of them are going to be kind of complicated, right? So I am not a fan of Joe Judge right now. He lost me very, very early in the season. And once again, if you go on the channel and you just look through my videos, you'll see from week 1's loss, I was already getting on him because I try to be as objective as possible with this team, right? And from week 1, I saw that there was a lot of problems that went back to Joe Judge. We were a very undisciplined team, which is the opposite of what he preaches. At that time we had a lot of flags, and even to now we make dumb mistakes. Like we've had 3 times we've had a player jump off sides, and that cost us the game. You're not a disciplined team if that's what's costing you the game, right? So I've gotten on him because I'm trying to be objective. I've also said somehow, some way he hasn't lost the locker room, which I get. He gets something for that because despite the terrible performance we're putting out on the field, the players still kind of believe in him, which is crazy to think about. I don't know how. And all it makes me think is that what we see, like from the media and as fans, is different from what he's doing in the locker room. That's the only explanation I could think about. Maybe he's telling them something else. Maybe he's a completely different dude in the locker room. But I'm not a fan of him right now. He has timeout management issues. He has just time management issues in general. He's way too conservative for my liking, going back to loves taking field goals. His type of offense is one that I don't think that could survive in today's NFL. And if it does, there's only really one team that executes well at it. No, 2. I take that back. That's the Titans and the 49ers. The 49ers, because they always consistently have like 3 good running backs on the team, and the Titans have Derrick Henry. And then like that's it, right? Every other team, you have some type of prolific offense to go with, or on some level, it's a prolific offense if you get what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. And then with all that being said, I still think he should get a 3rd year. That's what I'm saying. It's a complex answer because I'm tired of us firing coaches after 2 years. Bill Belichick said it at one point. He said, look at the New York Giants, an example. This is paraphrasing, an example of a bad team. They run everybody out. I mean, they run their head coaches out of their office like every other year. They keep changing the guy that's in the lead, but they don't change really anybody under them. Which I was saying, there's a lot of deeper problems. Like I think we need to replace our scouting staff. I think we need to replace our training staff and our medical staff. Going back to the injuries, you look at teams like Dallas, for example, right, bro? Dallas had how many injuries on their defense last year, and they let those dudes sit out. They let them heal, and more importantly, they let them have a recovery period. With the Giants, what I've noticed over the past couple of years is we let them heal, but we don't let them have a recovery period. So as soon as they come back, they're injured again. We don't let them sit out for longer than they need to sit out. We stay rushing players back, which is costed us a lot of games and costed us players' careers as well. I firmly believe that's why as soon as Kenny Golladay came back, he went back out that same game. As soon as Kadarius Toney came back, he went back out. Because these dudes, they spent like 2-3 weeks off, and then they're back, and that's not natural for some of the injuries they were having, if you just think about it logically. So I think our medical staff needs to go as well. But getting back to Joe Judge, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent there.
No problem, man. No problem.
Yeah, getting back to Joe Judge, right? Like I was saying, I don't want to continuously run our head coach out every 2 years. I don't want to be that team. That's like the Jets of a couple years ago. That's the Browns before Baker Mayfield and stuff like that. But also, I want to see which Joe Judge is the real Joe Judge, so to speak. Because like last year, he overachieved with a roster that shouldn't have done as well as they did. And then this year, he's underachieving with a roster that should do better than they are. So I want to see which Joe Judge in year 3 is the real one. Is it the overachiever or is it the underachiever? You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, I don't want to do what we did to Joe Judge, which is a new head coach came in and he's dealing with a roster that isn't his. You know what I'm saying? We still have dudes on contracts. We have players that he literally just drafted. Let's give him back here one more year and see what happens.
Nice, man. Hey, I understand completely what you're talking about. I think they do that, at a lot of things in the NFL. It's like a win now, what have you done for me lately type league. And you got to give these guys time. You know what I'm saying? We got a quarterback that they don't even want to give time, and he's been actually doing good things. You know, he definitely
And you
got
know
a
what?
lot of things to
I'll
improve.
tell you right now, Bird Gang, I'll be the first person to admit I was wrong on Jalen Hurts because I was completely out on this guy. I feel like as every NFC East rival to the Eagles was, right? Completely out on him. But by the time week 3 rolled around this season, I'm like, damn, yo, he's good. I see a lot of good things in him. I really do.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man. Let's talk about your quarterback, though. Is Daniel Jones the guy? You know
You ready
what I'm
for
saying?
another complicated answer?
Do you think that he is your future quarterback? Are you on the side of, there's a lot of variables that keep Daniel Jones from succeeding? Or do you think he's not the guy, he just can't play football?
So, like I was saying, are you ready for another complicated
I'm ready
answer?
for it, my guy.
So, I'm in the middle. I'm firmly on the fence on Daniel Jones, right? And a lot of it has to do with, so I'll give you the simple answer first, then I'll go into it. I don't think anybody, and I mean anybody, has seen enough to say if he isn't the guy or if he is the guy. Because we've never, ever, and you can't deny this, we have never given this man an offensive line that he wouldn't get killed behind. Ever in his entire 3-year career, I don't think he's had a good offensive line a single game. And that matters. I don't care who your quarterback is. That matters, especially for a young quarterback. You need to have some level of protection. The amount of times I've seen him drop back and then there's 2 dudes in his face. And I'll give you another example with Saquon. I'm sure we're going to talk about Saquon in a second. The amount of times you see Saquon take the ball and just look at the last Dallas game, there was 5 Cowboys already in his face, in the area. Like, yo, what do you expect him to do at some point, right? But like I said, I'm on the fence with him because of the fact that, yes, I do believe there's a lot of factors that go against him, the offensive line being one of it, the weapons never, ever being healthy. I think he's had 1 game where he's actually had all of his weapons healthy, that being the wide receivers and the running back in Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, like I said, it was only not even the whole game. It was only 6 snaps.
Yeah, it was only 6 snaps, and I'm pretty sure it was against the Saints, I think, which just so happens probably our best game of the year. I don't think that's a coincidence. It was our best game of the year. Like, that matters as well because you don't have the guys that are supposed to score you points, and you don't have your offensive line healthy. And because they're not on the field that much, understandably so, there's not much chemistry between Daniel and his receivers, which is something I don't know how to solve. The only thing that could solve that is more time together, more practice, but they're not healthy for them to get practice in the first place, right? So that matters. Like, those 2 factors matters, and I hate when people talk about it as if it doesn't, because you give me a quarterback that never has a good offensive line and never has his weapons on the field, not one or the other, both, and tell me how they're going to succeed. And then there's also the whole discussion about franchise quarterback. I feel like people mix up the term franchise quarterback and elite quarterback. There's only about 5 elite quarterbacks in the NFL. There's about 15 or 16 franchise quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? So every time people talk about Daniel Jones as well, I'm using this in general, Giants fans do this a lot, where like they want him to overcome it. I'm like, so you want him to be an elite quarterback? Go out there and find me one. You know how hard it is to find an elite quarterback?
Facts.
It is hard to find a franchise quarterback, but it's
and
much easier to
snapping a franchise or a league tag to your quarterback. They try to do it way too soon. You know, back in the day, you used to be able to see a rookie go through their 4-year contract before you actually made the decision, is this the guy or not?
The thing is, though, it's like I'm not supporting that whole fast thought process, but we have seen more and more franchise quarterbacks in recent years develop quicker. That's because they develop way quicker at the college level. But the thing is, they just don't know how to differentiate between the two. Because they feel like as a franchise quarterback, you need to be able to do everything. No, look at Ryan Tannehill, a perfect example. He is a franchise guy. He's not one of the elites. What's another example that I could use? Matt Ryan, right? Matt Ryan, I don't think was ever an elite quarterback, and he had that great MVP year. But no, I don't think he was ever an elite quarterback. He was a franchise quarterback, though, right? Like you got to think about it that way. And so that's why when people say, "Oh, he should be able to overcome the offensive line and the weapons being not healthy," I'm just like, no, like he needs to have one or the other, and I don't think he's ever had one or the other.
And there are some too, like whoever does. You see what happened? Even your GOAT, Tom Brady last week got dominated. You know what I'm saying? Like even Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, he lost his offensive line. What happened? He looked like an average quarterback. You know what I'm
9
saying?
points. That Kansas City offense put up 9 points in that Super Bowl. Exactly. And then it's like, so then that's my argument as like that's the pro Daniel Jones argument, which I completely agree with. And then the non pro Daniel Jones argument that I also agree with is that he's still making rookie mistakes that he shouldn't be making. Like I said, I'm on the fence with him, right? But there's times that he's out there and he does something and I just shake my head and I say, I really wish it was somebody else out there. There's times out there where he doesn't go through his reads. That's a rookie mistake. Why are you making that 3 years in? There's times out there where he's forcing the ball where it shouldn't be forced. Decision making, right? Rookie mistake. Why are you doing that, man? And there's also like those are the two things, which is like I've seen slight improvements in them over the past 3 years, but I haven't seen enough to the point where I'm still noticing that you're doing it on the field, right? And then it's like you look at games, for example, the past 2 years against Tampa Bay have been the two worst games of his career, this year and in 2020. I don't know what happened, and it wasn't even like this year Tampa actually even got that much pressure on him. He just couldn't perform against them. There's times where he just does not show up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna need you to throw your receiver open a couple of times, and I'm not seeing that, right? And I also think that Daniel can't throw a fade route for some reason. I know this is a weird thing to bring up, but I'm just like, you should be able to throw a fade route. But I don't think I've ever seen him throw a good fade route. He has a great deep ball, and that was a stat that Giants fans loved to talk about entering the season. Oh, he was rated the best deep ball thrower in the NFL. Yeah, because he's really accurate with it, but he can't throw those balls that need like a little bit of loft under them, that need a little bit of air under them so the receiver could continue running. Specifically, like I'm saying, the fade route, throw it to the pylon. I don't think I've seen him do that. So that's why I'm on the fence with him. I feel like he does need a bit more talent than where he is right now. There's some things he needs to do, but there's a legitimate argument for like has he ever gotten a chance to do that in the first place?
Fact. This question is for you, my guy. Because I have a question for Hub. What's your reaction to Daniel Jones being hurt, his neck, right?
There was two reactions, right? Because when he first got hurt, with the neck, I was extremely worried because with neck injuries, you never know, man. Neck injuries are a serious thing. That's right there with your spinal cord, with your brain and everything. That's something that could legitimately end your career and your life. So I was really worried. The first thing that came to mind was, all right, how serious is it? And the football part of me was like, third year, third injury. Is he a guy that's injury prone, right? And we look at the way he's gotten injured, though. It's similar to how there was another running quarterback that got injured was it last year or a couple years ago? But it wasn't because of the offensive line, like everybody said. Like this injury wasn't because of the offensive line. It was because he was running. Because he is a mobile. He's not a running quarterback, but he's a mobile quarterback. This goes back to Joe Judge. They keep running this dude into linebackers. He's not a running back. I don't know why they continue sending him into linebackers. That's on the coaching staff. Now on Daniel, he is allergic to sliding. He keeps going head first. So when you have that combination of we're gonna run you into running backs, and Daniel, I'm talking about his decision making here, how I hate it. He goes head first instead of sliding into those linebackers. That's exactly where the neck injury happened. And then there's a bit, I don't know if you know about this part, but there's a lot of rumors going out there that the neck injury is a lot more serious than the Giants are letting on. And
I heard that. That he might not even be playing no more.
Yeah, exactly. And there's rumors going around that this could have been prevented, but they still played him. And this is going back to the coaching staff and the medical staff, like I was talking earlier. He should not have played in that Eagles game. That same Eagles game that we beat you guys in that he got injured in, which was, by the way, he got injured a minute into it, so very early on. That same Eagles game he shouldn't even have played in because in the Tampa Bay game the week before, he told the medical staff, my neck hurts. And somewhere along the line, it goes from my neck hurts to him being cleared for the Eagles game to them, the coaching staff and Joe Judge running him into linebackers again. And that's where I'm like, if that is true, it is a rumor, but I really do believe it because the guy that leaked it, his Twitter account got deleted. I'm just like, that's not a coincidence, right?
Right.
So I'm like, if that is true, somebody needs to be held accountable, whether it's the coaching staff or the medical staff, because you're risking his life. And like you said, if it's as serious as it is and he still has swelling to this day and we're at week 16 and this is an injury that happened in week 12, week 11, he might not play football again. You know what I'm saying? It could be that serious.
Man. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. You know? I don't know what to say about that Daniel Jones situation. For me, I'm not the hugest fan on him. You know what I'm saying? I think, like you said, like for me, 3 years in, you expect a little more out of your
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
consider him that long-term solution type situation. I
Mm-hmm.
think Daniel should be a little bit farther progressed. But like you said, I do see him running a lot. That's one thing I will say, that he does know how to run that rock, as long as he's not tripping like the long
Yeah.
run he had against us that one time. But yeah, man, that's a tough situation. I don't
And
wish
it's
no
like,
kind of long-term injury
exactly.
on nobody. That's a man's health and his family and whatnot. But at the same
That's where it
time,
goes beyond football. Where I'm like, whether you a fan of him or not, they might have risked that dude's life,
mhm,
and that's inexcusable.
facts. Let's move on to Saquon. That's another reason I think it's probably some of the progression of Daniel Jones hasn't happened, is because his number one back has
Yeah,
not been on the field.
the guy that's supposed to take away most of the pressure, right? Like, if Saquon is healthy and he's the threat that he was his rookie year, that takes off so much pressure mentally, and I'm talking literally in
Yeah.
terms of the amount of people that dudes are sending, right? Because if he's actually a threat, they're not consistently sending 5 people, 6, which I see almost every week. Almost every team does it. They're sending more than 4 against the Giants because they know the offensive line can't handle it, right? So it's like, yeah, with Saquon, it's a little less of a complicated answers than all the other ones I've given you, because, well, Saquon, first of all, is the reason I actually started my channel. So I love him a lot as a player, right? Like, when he was drafted in 2018 was the
Yeah.
very first time I said to myself, let me get more into the draft process and just more into the NFL in general. It's where I shifted from a casual fan to being more of a diehard fan, right? More of like, I need to know everything in here. Shout out to Big Blue in the Bronx, man. I see you. What's
That
up, bro?
helped.
Alex. So that's all because of Saquon. So he's always held like a special place in my fandom. But I'm really, really close to just being like, he needs to be gone, or it's like I wouldn't really care if he is here or not. And it's simply one of those situations where I think the clock has run out. It's not necessarily the Giants' fault. It's not necessarily Saquon's fault. Because who do you, with a case like him, who do you blame injuries on? Almost every single one of his injuries haven't even been normal. They've been like freak injuries.
Freak accidents.
The first one in 2019
Yeah.
was a high ankle sprain. You go back, you look at the replay of it. It happened. He was out of bounds. I personally think it was a dirty hit by that Tampa Bay Buccaneers player. But I don't know. Maybe that's not up to me, right? But when that happened in 2019, he was hit out of bounds. The play was supposed to be over, went out, and he came back and he wasn't healthy until the end of the year. ACL tear. When is an ACL tear ever not a freak injury? I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Like, ACL tear can even happen as a non-contact thing, because it's literally
Non-contact. A lot of people get
your
them off
tendons.
non-contact.
Exactly, your tendons just give out. That's what it is. Freak injury. This year, and that's another thing too, right? A lot of people believe, and it's been shown with a lot of players, that recovery for ACL could take up to 2 years, right? So he's only 1 year removed from it. That could definitely play a factor as to why he looks sluggish, in my opinion, why he doesn't look himself. But it's that, plus he got injured again with low ankle sprain, and this time against Dallas, another freak injury. Play was over. He's walking. He literally twists his ankle. It looks like just a normal ankle twist, but no, because the cleat is stuck in the turf, his ankle went more, and then you got the low ankle sprain. So it's just like, who do you blame on that? You can't blame the Giants, because it's not like he got injured getting hit behind the line or something. You can't blame Saquon, because I don't think you ever could necessarily blame a player for their injuries. It's just a terrible situation, and because of that, because of all his injuries, because of the amount of games he's missed, and because it really is taking a toll on his body, you're seeing it. I think it's just a matter of, the clock is literally running out. He's coming up on his last year of his contract. I think we have the 5th-year option on him. That's what it's going to be next year. It's just, it is what it is. We'll see what he does next year, hopefully with an improved line,
Yeah, man. Yeah. Do you think Saquon is that guy? Is it time for the Giants to go out and get another insurance policy type running back, just in case, you go into the season? Because I know they picked up his 5th-year option, so he will be back with the team next year. But do you think they need to go get another big name back to mix it up?
Big name back? Okay, no, not necessarily big name back. I like the guy we got, Devontae Booker. He's been pretty good for us. He had a couple of 100-yard games. Obviously, he's not like he's not a well-known running back, but he's good enough. He's serviceable is the word I'd use, right? Perfect backup for Saquon, and definitely this year has performed better than Saquon a lot of times. But I've been saying we need to draft a running back in the mid and late rounds for years now. Ever since Saquon's rookie year, I've wanted to be drafting a running back in the mid to late rounds. In fact, if you go on my channel, right, I do a lot of draft content. It's like my best content is my draft content. In 2020, you know who I said we should have picked up in the 7th round that went undrafted? Guy from the Jaguars. He went undrafted. Got signed by the Jaguars. Yeah, Robinson. I was like, yo, Giants, pick this dude up in the 7th round. This past year, in the 5th round, I was like, we should take this dude, Elijah Mitchell, who's now with the 49ers, because we have Elijah Mitchell's former head coach from the Raging Cajuns team he played for. And I was like, I like this dude. This was the guy that our offensive line coach, his former head coach, this is the guy he ran his offense through. So there's familiarity there, and he performed well at that level. I've been saying for years we need to get guys, and there's guys to be found in those mid to late rounds, man. But the Giants just haven't been doing it.
Yeah, we got us a Kenny Gainwell, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can get some good running backs there. We had a question for you up here. It was like, how did you become a Giants fan? Who's your all-time favorite offense, defensive player? And how many Giants jerseys do you own?
So, let me answer this in reverse order, right? So I have a Reebok Eli jersey, a Reebok Jeremy Shockey jersey, the Saquon Barkley jersey. That was the first player jersey I got of the current team, right? Another reason why he's like one of my favorite players. I have a Blake Martinez jersey, which may or may not be a mistake because I don't know what's gonna happen with him. He's a good player, but a lot of fans want him gone to save cap, which I think is stupid because he's a really good linebacker. And then the one that might actually be a mistake, I got a Kenny Golladay jersey as well. Might sell that one. I'm not even gonna kid with you. All-time favorite player on defense, Michael Strahan. All-time favorite player on offense, I'm not gonna say Eli because I feel like everybody would say Eli, even though it is. I'm gonna say Victor Cruz because and that relates. Yeah, that relates to when I started, how I became a fan. I did see the Super Bowl 42, but I didn't become a fan until the year we were in Super Bowl 46, and it was because of Victor Cruz.
Nice. You love the way Victor Cruz was scoring them touchdowns and salsa dancing on the sideline.
This man has the best single season for a wide receiver in NFL history, man. What was it, like 1,600 receiving yards, something crazy like that?
Yeah. He was definitely a big-time player, man. Definitely a big-time player. But sticking to your receivers, now you guys went out and signed this Golladay guy. You know? Has he lived up to any of your expectations at all?
No, of course not, right? Of course not.
What about the rest of these guys? What happened to Slayton? You know, Shepard. You know, I know Tony had some bright spots, but
I feel like the only two receivers I was hyped about entering the season was the ones we acquired in the offseason. Going back to like my expectations were completely different. I was really excited about Kenny. I was really excited about Kadarius. At least with Kadarius Toney, my excitement paid off somewhat, and we've seen once again when he's in game, it's very difficult for defenses to get a hold of him and guard him. And this man makes moves. Like, he was the only reason we were even in the Saints game at one point. Against the Falcons, he was unstoppable. But injuries, right? Kenny Golladay, I haven't seen a single thing of that. And the thing is, going back to when I was talking about Jason Garrett with the scapegoat and how I think he was part of the problem, not the entire problem, you definitely got to admit, targeting your number one receiver one time a game is a recipe for disaster. And that's what Garrett was doing. Whether it was his fault or Judge's fault, it doesn't matter. It's the coaching staff's fault. And it's on the quarterback as well for Daniel. Because sometimes you got to say, man, screw this. I got Kenny up there. I'm just tossing it up to him. I don't care. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to say that.
Bigger receiver where you can do things
it's like what he's known for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's known for being a 50-50. We've signed one of the best 50-50 jump ball wide receivers in the NFL, and we don't toss it up to him in a contested situation when he's one-on-one. That's where he makes his money. That's where he made his money, being one-on-one. And the thing is, for majority of the season, you could go through the game logs. He's getting 1 target a game, 2 targets a game, 3 targets a game. So it's like, can I blame Kenny Golladay or do I blame the offensive coordinator and a little bit of the quarterback as well? Mm-hmm. But then sometimes in games where he does get targets, I can't name a specific one, but there are times where we target him a couple times in the row, hits him in the chest, he drops it, right? So it's like we're talking on the field performance. I'm like, is that because of what I mentioned earlier? You just straight up don't got no type of chemistry with Daniel because you're never on the field? Mm-hmm. Or is that just, I don't know what it is. And then speaking of never on the field, this is both Kenny Golladay and the medical staff, like I was talking earlier. Kenny is an injury-prone wide receiver. It is what it is. But then also, like I said, the medical staff rushing every single one of our players back, not just him. As soon as they feel like they could clear him, they clear him. There's no recovery period. There's only a healing period. Comes back in, injures his rib, he's back out. So it's like help me out here though, Bergang. Like, it's not even a rhetorical question. I actually want to know what you think. It's like, do you blame the offensive coordinator? Do you blame the quarterback? Do you blame the player? Do you blame the medical staff? Who do you blame?
All of the above.
Like, yeah, it's all of the above. It's all of the above.
All
But
of the
100%, 100%, no matter what, because of all those reasons, it's been a very disappointing signing.
And even your GM a little bit, because no matter what type of good 50-50 ball guy he is, he has been known for coming up hurt. You know what I'm saying? For the injuries in the past. So it's like you already knew that coming in. You're just hoping he'll stay healthy on your team as opposed to like,
I definitely blame Dave Gettleman as well, and there's a lot of blame to go on Gettleman in the front office. But going back to the plan, right, maybe this, I think a part of this is hindsight, what we're saying, because going back to the plan, with your quarterback, it's like, all right, it was time to get him that big weapon, and there was no other big weapon to get this past offseason because Allen Robinson was franchise tagged. The only person left on the market was Kenny Golladay, which we got. So it's like the GM did his job, but the timing was terrible because the job was done in probably one of the worst wide receiver free agent classes.
Yeah, true that, man. What about the rest of these guys? What up with Shepard, Slayton?
So Shepard, like I was saying, so there was only 2 wide receivers I was excited for. That was Golladay and Tony, and that's because we know what we have in the other guys. Slayton's a 5th-round pick that had a great rookie year, but he had a great rookie year. That's it. He went back down to earth with his 5th-round pick self last year. Slayton is, man, this dude's like a number 3, number 4 wide receiver. I'm not even going to kid with you. But I knew that entering the season. Most Giants fans knew that entering the season, and he's out here having dropping problems now. In addition to, like, he's having a difficult time getting open, but also in addition to that, you want to look at Slayton's target numbers. It's ridiculous. He's supposed to be a deep threat for us, and we only threw the ball deep. I want to say we only threw the ball deep 5 times or more, maybe 1 or 2 times this entire year, which is really terrible, and we're 16 games in. But we don't use him, even though he's bad, right? It's a combination of he's bad, and there's no excuse for that. He's a number 3, number 4 receiver. But also, we don't even give him a shot down the field. And that's, once again, quarterback, offensive coordinator, whoever's calling up these plays, right? Shepard entering the year, I knew was going to be gone. I knew it was going to be his last year. And after he tore his Achilles, I'm fully convinced he's not going to be back with the Giants, which is kind of a sad thing because in his short time here, he's actually climbed the list statistically, and he's a top 5 statistical Giant wide receiver of all time, which is crazy to think about because he's only been here for 5 or 6 years. But in those 5 or 6 years, he's top 5 receiving yards. I think top 5 receptions. Not sure about the touchdowns. I have to check on that. But just because of that, he's technically become, one of the best Giants wide receivers statistically of all time and whatnot. But his injuries have always been a problem. Always been a problem. Since his rookie year, his injuries have been a problem. And that contract was a problem as well. So it's like there was always a feeling of this was going to be his last year. And then he got injured so many times. And it was just like, yeah, you're done. You're done, my guy. And then, like I said, Slayton's just a bad receiver. Evan Ingram, our Pro Bowl tight end from last year, who was never really deserved the Pro Bowl, he's done better than I expected, I'm going to tell you. But that's because my expectations were so low. And can you blame me? Evan Ingram is probably the most inconsistent, receiving threat in the entire NFL. So this guy could catch the most juggle, circus, jump balls in the NFL, but for a simple catch like against you guys last year, he's gonna drop that when it hits him right in his hands. It's ridiculous.
Facts. But I'm kind of an Evan Ingram fan. You know what I'm saying? I like the skills that he do possess. I know a lot of people be hating on him tough, but it's like he didn't make it to the Pro Bowl, whether you like it or not. And he is like a guy that if he can stay consistent, yeah, it could be one of them top.
Well, that's the problem, right? He's the most inconsistent receiving threat in the NFL. Real quick, highlight Jadis's comment again, because I don't think I ever said this was an excuse. I'm just telling you what's happening. Did you ask me to excuse anything, Burger Gang, or did you ask me what happened? They got injured. I never said it was an excuse. Have I not been saying the entire stream that the Giants are a bad team? So miss me with that. I've never said it was an excuse. Miss me with that.
I didn't even know he was talking to you in that one. I just thought he was saying it. Yeah, man. So Ingram's out. Who's all out this game? Let's talk about that part.
So we got 9 guys, I think. So Ben Bredesen, Gary Brightwell, Saquon, Cullen Gillespie, Austin Johnson, Kyle Rudolph, Andrew Thomas is questionable, Leonard Williams is questionable. And I'd say those last 2 names are probably the most important on that list, probably.
Do you think it's going to be Fromm, starting?
I think it's been confirmed that it is Fromm, because Mike Glennon is the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
Garbage.
That man, yo, last week, it made me, and remember how I said I was on the fence about Daniel Jones? What I saw last week against Dallas made me appreciate Daniel Jones as a guy that's on the fence. I'm like, I would much rather have Daniels, you don't know what you're going to get out there on the field, rather than Mike Glennon. This man threw the ball deep 2 times, and both times it was picked off.
Yeah, he wasn't saying
You know what I'm
that
saying?
to you. He was just saying in general.
Okay, then I apologize for being a little bit hostile, Jada. That's my
Yeah,
bad.
when I read that, I was
but
like,
no, a lot of people do come at me with the same thing of like injuries and excuses. I'm like, I'm not excusing my team. I've been saying they're bad and injuries happen.
We definitely be racking up the injuries over here too.
Yeah, I mean, but at least I'll give you guys this. I think you have a better medical staff. Have you guys been rushing back your players?
That's just this year, and really, I think it's more towards the fact that we do things different. We don't practice as much. There's a lot of different structure to the team itself. And we run the ball more. To me, a lot
Is
of
it a better structure
on the offensive line? That was a lot of reasons, because when you're backpedaling so much a game, what I'm saying, those linemen are going to get hurt. They're not going forward. They're going backwards. It's not what a 350-pound man should be doing, for a whole game period worth of time, and always back out in the field, and whatnot. So
and also credit to Sirianni. Like I said, I will fully admit, and I've been admitting since the beginning of the season. Credit to Sirianni from game 1 of this year. I was like, this man is making it easy for Jalen. Like, he's giving Jalen a lot of good things to work with. I forgot who you guys played week 1, but I watched that game and I was like, damn.
The Falcons.
I was like, yo, they're onto something. They're onto something, at least on the offensive side of the ball right now. They're onto something.
Yeah, then he went 6 straight weeks not running the ball, and then you got to see how garbage the team got again. Just from that one thing, like that was a huge part. Like, we played a lot of good teams that first 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So if we would have ran the ball, I'm telling you, we would probably are 4-2 instead of 2-6. You know what I'm saying? During that stretch, but we definitely didn't run the ball. It was horrible.
You're still in the hunt, though, right?
Yeah, right now we're still in the hunt. Right now we're tied with Minnesota for that last spot. There's no tiebreakers there. Minnesota got it out, but they play a harder schedule. The rest of the last couple of games than we do. So hopefully we can win out and get this last playoff spot, because I think that'd be a good accomplishment for the team as a whole. First year coach, first year coordinator, first year quarterback. You made it to the playoffs your first year. That would be an awesome feat. And I think these guys are mentally strong. We're actually trending in the right direction at the right time.
Currently, yeah.
Like, I always thought of it like, I'd be telling people, like, I always looked at it like, you remember when the Giants won that Super Bowl, and then like 2 years later you guys won it again. But the second time, the beginning of the season, no one even had you guys winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, in 2011, I think we started with a losing record. That's all I remember.
Yeah,
we started with a losing record.
You guys hit that.
Yeah, and I think we won like our last 6 or something, and then of course we won every game in the playoffs as well. It's like the NFL is all about getting hot at the right time and and capitalizing on getting hot. You can't just get hot and not capitalize. You got to capitalize on it. So, I mean, yeah, it's all about who's getting hot at the right time. And shout out to Miz in there as well, Blue City Empire Sports. But, shout out to Jadis, man. I really feel bad now, but shout out to him. Very respectful. My bad, bro. I'm kind of disappointed in myself for misreading that.
We nice over here. We're nice.
Yeah.
We're not going to totally down you. We're going to tell you you're going to win. We're going to win, but that might be the meanest stuff that probably come out of our mouths over here.
Well,
he said, what were 3 Giants rookies that impressed you the most so far?
So are you talking about like 2021 rookies or just like over the past couple of years? So 2021 rookies, Azeez Ojulari comes to mind immediately, the 2nd-round pick edge rusher. That's a guy that I really wanted. Shout out back to my draft content I was referencing earlier. I for like months and months in the draft, I thought Azeez was going to be one of the best edge rushers. Obviously, Micah Parsons looks like the best one now, but can you just label him as an edge rusher? That man is all over the field. Right? Like, you've even seen him play defensive back sometimes. But no, Azeez, I think, has been one of the best edge rushers still. He's right up there with Parsons in terms of sacks. He's right up there with Owe of the Falcons. No, of the Ravens, I think Owe is at. Right up there with him as well in terms of sacks. So I'm really glad with that pick. I'm really glad, he popped out. What's happening? Are we still live? I'm going to just continue because I think we're still live. I'm really glad with Quincy Roche, a guy that we picked up off of waivers. Quincy Roche, he was drafted by the Steelers in 2021, actually, in the 5th round. And he was somebody I was surprised that dropped all that way because I had a 3rd-round grade on him. Drafted by the Steelers. Steelers cut him, comes into us, and in just like 5 games or something, the dude is already right up there with Aziz. And like just this last game, every time Quincy Roche gets a sack, it's almost always a sack strip fumble as well. It's ridiculous. So I like our 2 rookie edge rushers. That's not to say that we definitely need more help. I definitely would love right now where we have like the 5th and 6th pick. If one of those dudes in Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau dropped to me, I'm still taking them. And then for my 3rd rookie that I like, I got to run through. I'm not going to say Kadarius, even though I do love, like I said, I do like Kadarius when he's on the field, but I want to pick somebody that's been on the field more. In the 3rd round, we got a cornerback, Aaron Robinson, who's only seen the field in recent weeks. I'm going through. Let me actually pull up our draft class.
Okay.
And let's see. I guess I will have to go Aaron Robinson because we only had 6 picks this draft, and which is crazy because the last draft we had like 10 in 2020, right? So yeah, I'll go with Aaron Robinson, Aziz, and Quincy Roche with a I guess a honorable mention to Kadarius because I really do like Kadarius when he's on the field. It's just that he's not on the field that much.
Yeah, and you hope that that's not an ongoing thing where he continues.
Yeah, I hope. Getting
hurt, because that would be a waste of talent there. Because I do like Kadarius Toney. I would have got Kadarius Toney if we didn't get Devontae. If we would have got like a Parsons or
and I like where we got him. Like I feel like him at 20 makes sense. I would definitely felt some type of way if we took him at 11, right? Him at 20 made sense. And like I said, we already talked about the trade down. I gotta see how that plays out this year with this year's draft. How that the assets we got work out.
Yeah, man. So let's see. Who do you think on your team is getting too much playing time? Give me a couple players you think giving too much playing time, and then give me a couple, that's not getting enough playing time.
So one that's getting way too much is Nate Solder. Oh man, and Nate Solder, huh?
That's Nate though. Y'all pay him some good money over there.
We pay him some good money. Well, we restructured his contract, right? So we did eat that money for 2 years, but entering the season, we actually restructured his contract to the point where we're only paying him around $7 or $8 million, which is way less than what the initial contract was, right? So it's like, I don't even, you know what, bro? Forget that. I don't even care that we're paying him much money. He's a terrible tackle. He's got to be one of the worst tackles in the entire NFL. You know what I'm saying? Bust signing, of course. It didn't work out at all, but he's terrible. And I understand that the backup ain't much better. Matt Pert is a developmental guy that we took last year, and in the few times we have seen Matt Pert instead of Nate Solder this year, it didn't look good, which is surprising because he looked pretty good in his rookie year. So I'm really wondering, is there regression? If there's regression, does that mean he's just a bad pick, or is that I'm going back to the coaching staff, or is that the training staff? I hate when there's regression in a player because I don't know where it's coming from.
You don't know who to blame.
I don't know who to blame, right? Because it's like when I see him this year, specifically in the latter half of the season so far, he is worse than Nate Solder, which is crazy because when I saw him last year, when he was filling in for Andrew Thomas when Andrew was injured, he was fine. He was completely fine. But then, you know what another thing that comes to mind is, Bird Gang? The offensive line is a unit, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've always said you don't need like 5 all-pro guys on an offensive line to have a great offensive line. You hit on like 3 out of those 5 and you'll be fine for the complete 5. You know what I'm saying? And I think the 3 out of the 5 you should be hitting on is the 2 tackles in the center. Your guards will be fine if you got your 2 tackles in the center.
Even looking at us this last week, we had our 2 tackles in our center, and we had Herbert playing guard, who's a fill-in, and Opeta playing guard, who's a fill-in for Landon for getting the C word.
Yeah.
That was an impressive football game from these guys.
Exactly.
In terms of, but it was those main structures, the Mulata, the Kells, and the Lane Johnson that kept those guys, intact there.
So part of me wonders if the reason for his regression, or at least on the field regression, is because we're missing our center. I mentioned earlier our center is out for the year and possibly 2 years, right? Like that has more of an effect on the line than I feel most people realize because most people don't look on the offensive line as a unit. But the center is gone, and because the center was making up and sort of covering some guard play, now the guard play is more exposed, and now Matt Pert as a result, like it goes right down the line. Not a tackle, Matt Pert is more exposed. That thought pops in my head as well. But getting back to the original question, Nate Solder's getting too much playing time. I don't care how much he's getting paid. I don't want him on my team, let alone on the field. And a player that should get more playing time, is somebody actually mentioned it was John Ross, because one of the only receivers this year that's been really good and surprising me was John Ross. But the thing is, he don't get playing time. Every time we've tossed the ball to John Ross, one of his main problems that across the NFL people knew about is that his hands are on and off. Sometimes he has them, sometimes he doesn't. But with the Giants this year, every time we throw him the ball deep, he's come down with it. Every time we throw him the ball deep, he catches and he went in for a touchdown. Unfortunately, I could count all those times on my hand. We don't toss the ball deep. I mentioned it earlier, right, with Darius Slayton. We don't toss the ball deep that much, and without Jason Garrett. And John Ross has been nothing but good for us, and he should get more playing time. It's ridiculous that he doesn't.
He said prior to the 2021 season, what was your record prediction, and how has that changed?
So I had a record range. I think I said 7 to 10 wins. Oh, it was definitely changed. I don't know if we're getting to 7 wins this year. Yeah, we're probably gonna stay right here at 4 or maybe 5, because I really want to be Chicago, so it improves the Chicago pick more.
Right? You get some more there.
Yeah, we played them right after you guys next week.
What did you take from our first meeting? You know what I'm saying? Do you think it was more us beating ourselves, or was that just a really good game by you guys? Like, how did you see that game working out?
So let me go back, because I always like to have some stats pull up. Let me just pull these up real quick. The Giants versus Eagles was that week 12, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Give me a quick second. Oh, 13-7, right? So I look at this, and the first thing I see before I even think about the game again was that our defense showed up once again. Which, like I've been mentioning, the defense has gotten back to form. I just hate that it took them a whole month. We went a whole month with bad defense. Like, there's no excusing it. The New York Giants played this year with, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks of terrible defense. And then against Carolina, the defense clicked, and we've been a top 12 defense in the NFL ever since. So the first thing I look just by looking at the score is like, I bet. We held a team, because I remember talking about this a lot. I was on Philly Notion. I had Philly Notion on my channel. Shout out to Philly Notion.
That was my brother, Philly
Yeah,
Notion.
Philly Notion's the dude, man. I had him
my
on,
guy.
and I was telling him, I'm like, entering that game, the Eagles were the best offense in the NFL. Not one of the best. They were the best offense in the NFL. I think they were averaging 35 points entering that game. So I told him right away, I'm like, and we actually had a bet on this. I said, Notion, listen, my defense has been good. I don't think you guys are scoring more than 21. And he had a bet on it. And we held you all to 7. So I'm like, the defense did his job there. Now I'm trying to remember if there was a lot of messing up on Philly's offensive side of the ball. I know we got 3 picks on Jalen Hurts, and 2 of those went to Xavier McKinney, and one of them went to Tay Crowder. I don't even know. One of them went to McKinney, one of them went to Crowder, one they went to Darnay. One of them was a tip pick, so it was just a tip drill. I don't necessarily blame quarterbacks for tip drills, tip picks. One of them was a pick 6. That was Tay Crowder, a middle linebacker. I might have to look at those plays to see if it's like mistakes on your guys' side, or if it's just picking off the ball, picking off the ball, right? I think the McKinney
Like
one,
the one
to our
that Quez,
safety.
I think, was a pass interference that you
Which
guys
one
got
was
away
that?
with. You know what I'm saying? Like, that dude yanked him back.
Yeah, which one
And
was that?
Jalen was trying to lead him, and after you yanked him back, it was already a little too late. Left your receiver right there to take it. The one at halftime was horrible decision from Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just a horrible decision. And then I don't really recall that other one at the moment.
Which one was the pick 6 one? Oh, that one was.
And that's
Tay
what the
Crowder.
other one was. Was that
That
pick
one I
6?
think was a clean one, because I think Tay literally got it, and we were like on the 20-yard line or something. So he didn't even have to run that much. He just ran it right in. So it's like, I'm trying to think of that. Maybe one mistake, the halftime one, right, with that pick. I'm trying to think of y'all running game. As usual, Boston Scott has a good game against the Giants every single time he plays us. So there was a good game there. But I think it was, I would say it was more just our defense playing well. And for some reason, our offense did not have to do that much to score. Because if we had to score more than 13 points, bro, trust me, y'all are winning. Because that's how bad our offense is. But luckily, we didn't have to score more than 13
Yeah,
points.
it was definitely your defense. Even when we're making that comeback, you know what I'm saying? Making the push, we scored. We had 4 drives that should have ended. Well, it was really 3 drives that should have ended. I'm trying to think, was that Rager 2 drops back to back, or was it 2 separate drives?
Yes, going back to mistakes, there was drops. You're right.
Yeah. We had Rager drop 2. I know Dallas Goedert had a big drop the end of the game too, but that Ward touchdown too. So that was 3 touchdowns for sure that would have won the game dropped. And plus, when we were on that drive, one of the last drives, you had Boston Scott fumble the ball, and that was horrible. That was horrible.
So yeah,
So what
The
do you
giant
think?
killer.
And what do you think is going to happen? Do you think any of that carries on? Do you think the Eagles finally got it? Moving forward this week, we're
I
like
think it's two
trending
different
so high
teams.
up that you guys probably not going to be able to stop it without no quarterback
I think
play.
it's like two completely different teams. Because in week 12, there was an argument for both the Giants and Eagles to be like, okay, they both have a chance.
Mhm.
Sitting in week 16, I think it's pretty fair to say the argument is probably only on the Eagles side. Would the Giants have only basically lost games since week 12? The Eagles have won how many games since week 12? They've won games, right?
Yeah.
They've won more than zero. The Giants have won zero, so they've won more than the Giants.
Mhm.
And then now we're missing our starting quarterback as well. And you saw how terrible our backup is. Jake Fromm it is a very small starting size. Sample size. It's not like I expect him to go out there and win us a game. Let's be realistic. So I think you're seeing two completely different teams. One of them has continued to progress, and the only one has only regressed. It's unfortunate to say because I hate the Eagles, but I do think they're going to come out on top this game unless something drastic happens. Unless we have another repeat defensive performance like that, where it's like, yeah, you know what, with Jake Fromm,
Jalen
I
has
think
another repeat worst game of the season.
yeah, another repeat 3 interceptions, a couple drops, but like the defense holds you guys to 7, where it's like, all right, with a third string quarterback, we could afford to go out there because the defense is doing its job. Unless that happens, I think you guys should come away with it.
The only worry I really worry about is JG. Like I said, it's for 7 weeks now, except for that Giants game. And like I said, even there was good play calls that game. We were, like you said, rushed for over 200. We had the right calls on those plays that were touchdowns that were just dropped. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say really the last like 8 weeks, man, we've been down and up offensively. To beat the number one rush team in the league when you didn't run the ball for 6 weeks, that's a very impressive to be like one of the only teams, since the 80s or whatever to have over 175 yards, 7 straight games. You see
That's
the big
incredible.
difference when you got a guy like Hurt sitting there, with this running game. It's the sky's the limit. I feel like they understand how to use them. I would like to see Devontae get a little bit more involved this week. But other than that, man, our offense is rolling on all cylinders now. And we get Landon Dickerson back, off the list. And I just really feel it's like no disrespect to the Giants or any other team. I just feel like on the trajectory that we have, our game plan offensively, it's going to be hard to stop. It's going to be hard to stop. We got Miles Sanders rolling back-to-back 100-yard games. And you still got Howard in now. Just the last game was the first time you had both of those guys in, Thunder and Lightning, going after a team. And you seen what happened. Miles over, career high, I think it was 135. You still had Howard still came in with some nice carries, got 69 yards rushing. And that whole ground and pound thing, I think we can really ride that into the playoffs. And even, you never know with some of these finesse top-heavy teams with wins, they're more of a finesse teams that if you go pound them, keep their offenses, because their offenses are very explosive. You keep these offenses off the field, man. You don't even, the sky's the limit for the Eagles. We made the playoffs. Teams got to watch out. That's how I really feel about it. But
especially with a team especially with a ground and pound team. Like I was saying earlier, like there's only like really 2 teams that I would label as complete ground and pound, but they're successful. If you could do it and you could do it well, it's very hard to stop it, especially because there's not really one guy on your team that's doing it all. I think there's like 2 or 3.
Yeah, we got like
in that
4
backfield,
running
right?
backs that can do
4?
something. And then you got Jalen Hurts. He's dual threat. He's still almost about to reach like 1,000 yards if he keeps, cracking them out.
He hit the Pro Bowl as a what's it called, a fill-in, right? So hey, what a turnaround from his rookie year, in my opinion. So, but I gotta ask you, because I've seen this on Twitter from both Eagles fans and non-Eagles fans alike. Why is there some people asking for Gardner Minshew?
Because he had one game. And it was right after Jalen had his worst game ever. I think people are just impatient. It's more like, Jalen came out the worst game against you guys. Then he came, Gardner Minshew came and played an all right game. Like I tell everybody, it was no world beater game. For one, it was the Jets. For 2, he was still throwing short passes. He was underthrowing balls. He did exactly what he's supposed to do. Nick schemed up a really good game where all the people were wide open. He was throwing the ball to, you know what I'm saying? And, him being, what was he, like 20 for 26 or something like that? Something like that. He was like, very productive. in terms of like he didn't have very many incompletions or interceptions or whatnot. So I think everybody clamored to that, but it was only like 200 yards, you know. And even if you look out the way he affected our rush game, we had 185 yards rushing, but the last 6 games with Jalen Hurts started, we have like 250. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a huge difference. And even after that game, Miles Sanders had came out and said, you know, it was a little bit harder running the ball without Jalen in there, just because Jalen brings a different diversity to that backfield. You know, people have to account for it. Does Jalen really got the ball or not? You know, because he can take off on you. So I just think, you know, they wanted to see a more accurate quarterback, but I think, you know, Jalen Hurts is pretty accurate for what he does. You know, everything that we're looking for Jalen to get better in is just time. That's it. You got to have, he hasn't seen every defense. You know, he hasn't understood every coverage, how they're going to play him, how they're going to roll, adjust to his type of, you know, coverage with him in the game. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't seen it. And no quarterback ever really comes out their first 16 games and balls out. You know, if you put his numbers to any other quarterback ever, you know, I remember for most of the season, he was top 10. He just broke our franchise record for rushing touchdowns when we had Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb, Randall Cunningham.
In a season or like just overall?
For a season.
Okay, yeah, no, that's incredible.
Yeah, 10 in a season, you know, like if you take your top quarterbacks stats, you know, they're mostly passing. So they're looking at what, 3,000 yards, somewhere around there, you know, right now, 33 or something like that. And then you put Jalen's passing and receiving yards together. He has just as many, if not more, you know, touchdowns. He's at 24 touchdowns total. So you got to stop looking at just the throwing side of Jalen. Look at him as being a dual threat playmaking quarterback, and you'll see the total picture. It's right there in your face. So I don't really understand. I don't really think the Eagles should even think about getting another quarterback, to be honest. You know, if anything, re-sign Minshew in the offseason to be your backup for another year or two while you finish letting Jalen develop. You know, let him in a second season. You know what I'm saying? Like, let him play some football in the same system. The last 5 years he's played, he's been changing offensive schemes, offensive coordinators back to back. You know, let him get comfortable in the system and let's see what he can do. You know, he's showing you potential. You know, if you even watch the Washington game, he was throwing dimes all game long. You know what I'm saying? Dime. That Ward touchdown was a dime, back sort of fade. Like, he's made every single play there is. That's why I'm not really big on the people that be like, oh, his accuracy sucks. You know, his accuracy sucks. Like, he's just a running back. I'm like, I promise you, I can make, and I probably will once the season's over, a whole hour-long video of nothing but on-point passes from Jalen Hurts, throwing dimes to the receiver, starting from last year to all this year. You know what I'm saying? You can probably get a full hour worth of content of showing you nice balls that he can throw. Now, does he throw bad ones? Every quarterback do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why there's most of the top elite quarterbacks right now have more interceptions than Jalen. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have more picks. They turn over the ball more than this guy. So you're expecting the guy to do, and these guys been in the league for 10 years plus, you know, and it's like to expect him to be on the same level, you know, passing wise as the rest of these guys. Jalen's only 23 years old. He got plenty of time to get better and plenty of time, you know, to make the doubters stop doubting him. Do I think he's a franchise? I think he is the guy. I think he can be the franchise quarterback, and I do think his ceiling's high enough to be elite one day if he's coached properly. If, you know, they do the right things, you know, run the ball, you know, let him groove, get it set up. Whenever we're running the ball, Jalen's passing, he's a lot more accurate. You know, when we're just trying to launch him up there, that's not his game, man. It's just not, you know, and he looks kind of suspect. But when you got him in a flow of the game where he got to break off a couple of nice runs, you know, we're running the ball consistently, taking the pressure off him, then he looks good out there, man. He looks real good. So I think Jalen's that dude.
I agree with you, yeah.
He's had 3 keys to winning the game against the Eagles. And
oh, man. Score more than 11 points. Hold the Eagles to below 21. That was the threshold I had last time, but I actually might drop that. Hold the Eagles to below like 17 because we got to score more than 11. They got to score less than 17. Those are 3 points right there. The third point would be have a good offensive game plan. That's something that would work for Jake Fromm. Going back to giving a little credit to Nick Sirianni because he's somebody that I did not believe in before the season, but at least once again he knows how to give both of his quarterbacks game plans that work to the strengths that they could execute with. So Freddie Kitchens or Joe Judge or whoever is going to be in charge of play calling this game and making the game plan for this entire week, put something in place that Jake Fromm could take advantage of. Unfortunately, his strengths are a good run game and a good offensive line. We have neither. Find something else to do with him. But there's not much for me to say on the defensive side of the ball because I'm really happy with that. All of it is really going to be on the offensive side of the ball, man.
Yeah, and for me, Grant, I'm gonna say, man, our defense just gotta show up. Stop letting these suspect, quarterbacks look like world beaters out there. Even the last week game, yeah, we won Washington, but they were what? Who was that third? Some quarterback that we never even seen before, and he was looking like an all-pro. I know short field and whatnot, but still, he was looking like an all-pro early in that game, man. Stop giving
That goes
these
for like the
no-name
pass defense
quarterbacks
specifically,
a
right?
chance to look relevant in the NFL. So you need to, if Fromm's playing, if Glennon, Gleason, whatever his name is, if he's playing, either one of these guys should not be doing nothing to your defense. I want to see you attack these guys from the start and don't let up. Another thing we started to do both sides of the ball. We let up a little too early. We get a 2-possession game. Now you see defenses change and offensive schemes change. Forget that. Keep your foot on the gas pedal the whole game, man. Just keep going. If the score is 60-0 or 60-14, whatever, just keep going. Get it that way. Show the league that you can stay consistent throughout a full game. And we also got to see both sides of the ball. One game is the offense. One game is the defense, One game is the offense, and one game is the defense. We need a full, complete game, of football where both sides are dominant, both sides are doing their job, both sides are coached right, and both sides are making big plays. I think that's exactly what we need, especially with a team like this that does have injuries that, they're coming to us. We should have enough revenge in our hearts to know we do not want to get swept by the Giants this year and let them be the reason why our season is over or basically over with a loss. So and then another one.
Would your season be over if you have one more loss, or was it like
I think
this
we
game
could
specifically?
lose one, but now you're really looking at other teams having to lose. You know what I'm saying? You'll need Minnesota to lose both of their hard games. You know what I'm saying? You need Washington to continue to lose because we played them again. That might give them more motivation to play harder, when they have their full lineup next week when we play these guys. So, you want to make a statement now, get that game ahead of them, that you need. And stay confident. You don't want any kind of, noise from the outside. Oh, they might not, you might not. Right now, everybody's on your side and keep them on your side. Keep running that rock. Keep getting 200 yards a game. Until somebody stop you. Don't be scared. Don't be trying to get cute. And start going back to your own. Because Nick does that sometimes. Through periods of the game, try to get cute and try to go past the ball again. Like that's our thing. No, Nick. Stay with your bread and butter. Until somebody can stop it, you gotta keep rocking it. You know what I'm saying? So those are what I think the Eagles need to do to win this game. I think we can. I really think that. Like I said, the trajectory of both teams are doing two different things right now, and we just need to keep up, the good work and keep fighting, because like I said, to go to the playoffs your very first year, head coach, quarterback, Jalen, all these young players, that will be nothing but great experience for these guys. Even if we got kicked out the first round of the playoff, that would be, I already think it's a win for the season. We're double our win total. Well, winning this week would double our win total from last year. And going to the playoffs would definitely be a lot better than what went on last year. We'll be back, that'd be what, 5 out of the last 6 years we're in the playoffs, that only with that one down year. And that's, we can't ask for much more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this team, I had them going into the season, when I was drinking the Kool-Aid. My very first video I said 11-6. Then I started drinking some of the Kool-Aid in the offseason. Then I'm like, 13-3, 13-4, 12-5, you know what I'm saying? That's what I see us at. Then we had that rough first start, because that was my whole theory. We had to win more, like 4-2 in that 6-game stretch, and we went 2-4. So then, it brought me down to earth, and then, I wasn't sure in the middle of the season, like, I don't know anymore, this team, because you don't got consistency on any side of the coaching side,
Yeah.
But now, with these guys developing, doing what they've been doing, I really do think we can hit that 10-7 mark. I think we can win out. It's a possibility. Even it might even get more help at the end. I think we should be able to sweep the Washington football team. I don't think they're that talented over there. What I'm saying? I think we can definitely get a sweep with those guys. And then I want to split with you guys to split with Washington. With Dallas. So That'd be a successful season. 10-7, my floor, which I said since the beginning of the season, I don't see Jalen Hurts losing, and the rest of these guys with the talent that we have losing more than 7 games this year.
No, I agree with you. I mean, any team that makes the playoffs that were like the year before was not in the playoffs, it's always a success, no matter how it ends. Because you went from being a team that you're not sure where you're going to be to being a team that's like, all right, we did this year, we should be able to do it again next year. Should be able to build upon it.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared. Kitchens, I'm probably just bugging. Kadarius Toney might be playing against the Eagles this Sunday. He said the Eagles better not struggle in this game. Facts, man. I believe 60-75 points. Yeah, man. So, give me your score prediction, and then we're going to get to the all-time team here.
All right. So, in order for me to do that, let me go and look at what the Eagles have been doing in the past couple of games, right? You guys, 27 against Washington and 33 against the Jets. So you guys had a bye week in between Jets and Washington then, right?
Yeah. I can just tell you this one stat. Any game the Eagles has won this season has been 30 or more points, except for that last game where we went 27. But that's still kind of 30 in that range, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we scored less than that, usually it came out in the loss.
That's what I'm noticing as I'm going through this entire thing, right? So, I still think that our defense is a really good one. So there's only been 2 teams that scored 30 on us this season, and that was both LA teams, the Rams and the Chargers. And at the time they did it, they were one of the best teams in the NFL. Week 6, the Rams looked unbeatable. And then against the Chargers a couple weeks ago, the Chargers are one of the better teams in the NFL right now. But I'm gonna say you guys won't score 30, but you still win. I'm gonna say 24 to 11. Yeah, 24-11, Eagles win.
That's good. That's good. We won. That's all that really matters. That's cool. Like I said, I don't care if we only win by 3. But like I said, I think we're going to be on that track. Our defense is looking good, trending in the right direction. As long as we don't let the guy get hot, whether it's Fromm or Glennon, get hot early, like we've been doing with these type of quarterbacks, we get on them early. I think we can really pull away early because I don't see you guys stopping the run game this time around. Even though you guys really didn't last time. You got to look at all those turnovers of being the real reason why we weren't put points, because all those were like in the red zone. Like we should have scored touchdowns those times. And if we scored touchdowns those times, and you look at the end of the game, how it turned out, we should have won by more than 21 points. So I got us winning 31-14. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys get a couple of touchdowns on the board, but that run game, man, I think that's a little bit too much for anybody right now. Not you guys, not just everybody right now in the league. The way we're running that rock is really, it's at a historical record. It's not like something that's just good for right now. Like this is something that, we continue the rest of the season with over 200 yards a game might be the first time ever happening. You know what I'm saying? And to be that good of a rush team when you got other backs out there like Jonathan Taylor with the Colts and him running all over the place, to still be considered the number 1 team rushing, it's pretty good. And we definitely just need to ride with it, man. Ride with it. He says 24-11. Dang, I have Eagles 28-19.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how you see us putting up 19 points.
Huh?
I haven't seen anything in the past month that suggested that we'd put up 19 points.
With Fromm, that's the only thing though. Cause I watched Fromm play in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be one of them guys where if you let him get, that's why I want us to attack him early. Because he's another one of them young guys who don't have that much tape on because he hasn't really played that much. But he in college he was a baller. You know what I'm saying?
Like, he was. I'm not even going to deny that he was, right? But what was the strengths on that team was the run and the line, right? And that's not the strengths of our team.
No, that's true. That's true. And Saquon's another one. You never know when Saquon's gonna have a good game.
I mean, if he's healthy, because he's like we read the injury report just now. We're not sure.
He might not play too.
Yeah. When we went over the injury report, he was one of the 9 guys on it, where it's like limited participant in practice and stuff like that.
Oh wow. Yeah, if Saquon's not playing, it's definitely going to be a nice game for us for sure then.
Unfortunately.
But what do you think about even after us? I know you think we're going to win. Do you think you pull out one of these last ones against the Bears? Who you guys got? The Bears and
Yeah, no, so if there is anyone I think we could pull out, it would be against the Bears, and it's not just because I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's beat the guys that, that we have their pick," but it's also cuz the Bears have also been one of the, the worst teams in the NFL this year as well, and they make a lot of we make a lot of mistakes, but they make a lot of stupid mistakes, especially if you look at this past game with what Justin Fields is doing, which is I'm a fan of Justin Fields, by the way, which is it's weird because I'm a fan of Justin Fields, but I'm actively rooting for him to do bad and his team to do bad because I have their pick. But like I said, they're one of the teams that have been just as bad as us, if not worse. So I'm like, it's definitely a winnable game for us.
Like, I'm happy we didn't pick none of them quarterbacks. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, Fields is better than Hurts. This guy's better than Hurts." I'm like, well, now you guys look stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like Matt Jones is better than all these guys. You know what I'm saying? That everybody was picked.
Which, by the way, in the off season, it was me and my co-host Kid Blue on Young Guns. We were big Mac Jones fans, and we had him like really high on our board, as like the number 3 quarterback on our board. And I feel like anybody that was a Mac Jones supporter before he actually showed his stuff got a lot of hate for it. But it's like,
yeah, I did too.
You watched him at Alabama, and you know,
content creators. I was like, Matt Jones is gonna be the best quarterback out of this draft. Like, I watched him in Alabama. I live here, so I had no choice but to watch him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just lit it up, and it wasn't just whenever you got a guy like Waddle, who ended up being one of the highest ranked receivers coming out of the draft. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you got a guy like that going down, then you got Devontae Smith, who's another Heisman Trophy winning guy.
Didn't they both also said that they like Mac Jones was their favorite quarterback out of the 3 to play with? Both of them said that?
Yeah. And then you look at just the whole point.
Yeah.
When you only got one main guy, Alabama always have a bunch of receivers, but that was the main guy. We went to Devontae all the time, and he was being triple covered. So, double and triple covered like every single game, and to still be able to fit balls in there. That's accuracy. You know what I'm saying? And I think he did land in a very perfect spot. I said once the Patriots signed him, he was an upgrade of Tom Brady starting his career off. And Bill Belichick was going to love it. And he's going to fit in that system perfectly, and he was going to do big things. And you see what's going on over there. What, they're leading the AFC, or at least...
Aren't they still the first seed?
Yeah, I think they are the first seed in the AFC, and no one thought that was going to happen. But I got to tell people with the Patriots too, man. Last year, the Patriots didn't have nobody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody opted out. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody opted out from the COVID protocol, and we don't have your whole team. Then you had Cam playing like Cam. Cam ain't been good for a while now, It was just a recipe of failure. And then, you see Tom Brady win the Super Bowl, and everybody's like, oh, it's Tom. That's the reason why the Patriots won. I'm like, did you guys not know?
I'll say this. That was, like, the most annoying thing out of everything. I'm like, after he won it, people just didn't want to give Belichick any credit.
He said, what he said? But Bird,
I was like, after
you said Jalen Hurts is better than Matt Jones. You were drinking that Kool-Aid. No, I still think Jalen Hurts is better than Matt Jones. I didn't say Matt Jones is better than Jalen Hurts. I said he was better than all these guys. Everybody drafted. When everybody was trying to say that we should have drafted a quarterback, man, you guys are tripping. We got a good quarterback. We just need to give him more time to progress, man. Let's get into the all-time team, my guy. We got our predictions out of the way. This is your favorite team since you've been a Giants fan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so like one of the years.
Nobody.
My mom is in the back plugging in the Christmas
tree. If you want
tree.
to add some people in certain positions just to fill up the hole with somebody like that, you can. So
yeah, okay. So let me do, I guess, my favorite team that I've actually seen, and then I'll probably do like a fantasy all-time team, right?
Well, I'll do like this. I'll give you like right now. Give me a quarterback and who will be backing them up. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's your favorite two? Yeah, you just have to fill in the blanks. I'm gonna start.
Okay, that's easy because we've only had like one like really really good quarterback. That was Eli. And the backup, I'll go with Phil Simms. We did have Kurt Warner for that one year, but he wasn't Kurt Warner. That was like in his weird in between years when we had Kurt Warner. So yeah. Let me go with Eli, Phil Simms. So running back, Tiki Barber. Backing him up, I'll probably go Brandon Jacobs. I'm a big fan of Brandon Jacobs. And,
give me one more running back. I like doing 3 running backs.
Oh, for sure. But a little bit more on Brandon Jacobs, man. Brandon Jacobs was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry. I'm gonna just put that out there. So I'm gonna go Tiki. Brandon.
I don't know if he's exactly Derrick Henry, but he was good.
He was like that archetype. Bro, that dude was what, 6'7", 250? Like, he was a big dude, man. But yeah, I'll go. I said Tiki. Brandon and Ahmad Bradshaw, because I mean Brandon and Ahmad were already a duo when they won those 2 Super Bowls, so and it was a really good. Frank Gifford. Frank Gifford is a good name to bring up, man. You a fullback? Let me put Frank Gifford in there, man.
Okay.
For the fullback, wide receiver.
Give me two tight ends.
Okay, two tight ends. Jeremy Shockey, Mark Bavaro. Mark Bavaro and Jeremy Shockey.
Jeremy
I'll go with
Shockey.
those two.
Now give me
Mark
4
Bavaro
receivers.
is an underrated tight end for the Giants. For receiver, I'll go Amani Toomer, Plaxico Burress, Victor Cruz, and let me go with Hakeem Nicks. Hakeem Nicks. I
Nice.
love Hakeem Nicks.
Give me a starting offensive line.
Starting offensive line, bro. Whoever was on that, literally the same 2007 offensive line team. So that's let me just look it up real quick. Giants O line 2007 because it was like one of the
2007?
best. Yeah,
That's wow, that good.
because that was literally the best offensive line I think we've ever had, and it was one of the best in the NFL. So it was crazy. Can I find who it was? So yeah, David Deal, Rich Soibert, Sean O'Hara, Chris Snee, and Kareem McKenzie. Those guys right there,
Nice.
man.
Give me your starting defensive line. So we do a 4-3 base. So give me your starting front 4 and your 3 linebackers to add to it.
I bet, I got you. So I'm gonna go Michael Strahan on one end. I know he played linebacker, but I'm gonna put LT on the other end because LT is like one of the best, like one of the goats of football, right? I'm gonna have Justin Tuck in there as well, and OCU Minora in there. So
Woo! That's a dangerous line.
that's gonna be a very lethal line if it ever came to fruition. And then with linebackers, let me look up and make sure I have. So I think I'll go Harry Carson for one linebacker. I'll go Carl Banks for another linebacker, and then I'm trying to think of the third one. We haven't really had good linebackers in like 20 years, so that's gonna be trying to think of a third one.
There's some good ones. There's some good names right there.
Jesse Armstead. I didn't really see Jesse Armstead. Yeah, I'll go with Antonio Pierce because I actually got to see him play a little bit. Yeah, I'll go with that. Antonio Pierce, and I know Carl Banks is outside one, but I couldn't put him on the line, so I'm putting him in as like a 4-3 outside linebacker then.
Okay. Give me 3 cornerbacks.
3 cornerbacks. So we gotta go with the last great white cornerback in the NFL in Jason Sehorn, bro.
Jason.
I think he's the last white dude to play cornerback in the NFL too. But I'm gonna go with Jason Sehorn. I'm gonna go with Corey Webster, of course. And there was another guy in that 2007 run that was just like a good corner, but in the playoffs he locked everybody up. He's not on that list. It was next to Corey Webster, and let me look it up. If I look up Corey Webster and just Giants cornerbacks, it's gonna pop up.
You like DRC?
Now DRC wasn't with us when we did when we went to Super Bowls those 2 times. But instead of DRC, I'll choose somebody from the 2011 Super Bowl team. It was his rookie year. I'll go Prince Amukamara from his rookie year.
Prince Amukamara. Nice. Yeah. Give me 3 safeties.
3 safeties? Oh. And we're talking like at the height of their careers, right?
Is your favorite 3 safeties you like watching?
Because I'm like, yeah, the height of their careers, man. Let me see. Because that man, I don't know, Landon Collins when he was with us was good. But I'm going to go with like a Hall of Famer dude. I'm going to go with Emlyn Tunnel. I like Kenny Phillips as well. He was with us at one point. Let's see who he has here. Yeah, Landon Collins is who I wanted to say. Antrell Roll, that's a name right there, man. Antrell Roll. Yeah, let me go with Emil Tunnel, Antrell Roll, and I'm going to go like Landon Collins in his prime with us, I think was the best Landon Collins you'll ever see.
Nice. Now give me a kicker, a punter, and a special team return ace.
So kicker, Lawrence Tynes. Punter, I'm gonna go with our current punter. Actually, I like our current punter a lot, Riley Dixon. And then what was the third one?
I like a return ace, special team ace.
Special teams guy. Special teams guy is gonna be hard to think about. Maybe I'll put in somebody from like that I want to be on one of the receiving options back there for special teams. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna put a receiver that I didn't get to say because there was only 4 receivers. Give me Odell on the return, bro.
Odell be your return ace. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Give me your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, and your head coach.
Okay, so my head coach, obviously the best head coach that the Giants ever had, the original Bill. My defensive coordinator is the current Bill Belichick. My offensive coordinator, my favorite Giants offensive coordinator, Kevin Gilbride. Yeah.
Gilbride. Nice, man. Hey, that's a good list. That's a good team right there. I really like your defensive line, the way you stacked them in there like
Yeah.
that. You know, OC with Tuck and Lawrence and Strahan, man. If they have really, for real, you're looking at a 100 sack
And
season,
those
my guy.
guys coached by Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator, like looking back
Right?
at it, we had like back in the day, we had some great coaches, man. And now we're sitting here, I'm like, I don't even know what our coach is, but it's crazy to look back on Giants history. It's like we really had Bill Belichick here, and we let that man slip through our fingers. Crazy.
Hey, man. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on the show. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to my guy, the Hub over here, man. Putting out that fight, Giants content over there. Thanks again for coming to my platform. Definitely need to do some stuff this off season, plus draft time. Whenever you need,
Oh
whenever you're
yeah,
free, you want
yeah.
to do something, let me know, my guy, because I'm always down to do stuff. Work with you some more there, buddy. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you at.
For sure, man. First of all, I do want to thank you, Bird Gang, for having me on the Bird Gang Show. Shout out to every Eagles fan in chat. You guys have been incredible, extremely nice, extremely polite. It's been a delight being here. And shout out to Levance as well. That's one of my subs pulling up. You guys can find me at the Hub on YouTube and at the Hub YT Gaming on Twitch. My link is in the chat. It was posted at one point. Once you click there, you go
it's
over.
in there a couple of times.
Yeah, and it's in the description as well. As soon as you go over to my channel, like when you see the channel page on YouTube, go over to the about section if you want to find any more of my links. It's all in the about section. I got so many links. But thank you so much. It's been an awesome time over here talking. It was a lot of fun, and definitely we're gonna do this again sometime, man.
Heck yeah. So you guys know what I like to do at the end of my shows, guys. Let's go get them this week and let's keep this momentum going, Eagles Nation. Fly, Eagles, fly. Till next time, this Bird Game 31, we out. Peace.